My name is Shannon. This is a story of revenge that my mother-in-law, Grace, executed on my behalf and that of my husband. I used to be a corporate employee, but circumstances led me to resign. Now, I'm a second-year married woman focused on housework while job hunting. My husband Ethan is incredibly considerate and caring. Home now. Thanks for taking care of the house again today. Welcome back. He even occasionally brings me job recommendations. How about this job? It's similar to what you did before. Yeah, thank you, I'll apply. I met Ethan at the company where I used to work. He was in charge of training me when I first started, and we hit it off while discussing work matters, which eventually led us to dating and marriage. Ethan knows why I left my old job. He's advised me to take my time with job hunting, no pressure. You could work part-time or temp. If you're not feeling up to it, it's fine to just focus on being a housewife. Ethan's words are reassuring, and his income is good. However, I can't help but feel guilty relying solely on his earnings. Ethan even helps me with the household chores, so I've continued to juggle housework and job hunting. He's been consistently supportive. Finally, I found a new job in the same industry, albeit part-time. My new co-workers are great, making it a comfortable work environment. Life was becoming stable, juggling work and housework with Ethan's support. But that happiness was short-lived. I was suddenly hit with the news of Ethan's passing. A stress-related illness, I was almost cured of relapsed due to this devastating news. I can't imagine how I would have coped without the support of both our families. Still, I mustered the strength to get through Ethan's funeral. Naturally, his colleagues, who were my former colleagues, also attended. They sneered and whispered behind my back, pointing fingers at me. Every time our eyes met, I felt nauseous. My exit from my former job was due to issues with these very people. Both sets of parents noticed my discomfort and tried to be supportive, but I held it in. During the funeral, while greeting relatives, a woman suddenly appeared before me. I instantly recognized her. Her name is Jennifer, Ethan's batchmate and my senior at the old company. She was also the reason I left my job. It's been a while, hasn't it, Shannon? Jennifer. I gave a slight nod, trying to distance myself from her. However, she forcefully grabbed the collar of my funeral attire, preventing me from leaving. Thinking you can escape me just because you quit? Big mistake. Jennifer whispered to me in a mocking tone. Jennifer was the CEO's daughter and did whatever she wanted because of her dad's influence. Right off the bat, I became her target. It seemed like she really didn't like me, harassing me at every turn. She even spread all sorts of rumors about me, rallying co-workers to her side using her status as the CEO's daughter. This Jennifer was always impeccably made up, gorgeous, and constantly surrounded by male employees. Her outgoing personality was the exact opposite of my own, reserved and modest self. My colleagues started to believe Jennifer and join in on the harassment. Important information would be withheld from me and tasks would be dumped on me right at the last minute. My work was disrupted and my time card was manipulated, so I never got paid for my overtime. This nightmare went on every day. Even when I talked to HR and upper management, they brushed it off as a newbie's paranoid delusion, probably because Jennifer and my co-workers kept their stories straight. It's also possible they were covering for Jennifer since she's the CEO's daughter. The only person who sided with me was Ethan, my trainer and boyfriend. But even with Ethan's support, I was drowning in work and never allowed to leave on time, leading me to quit due to stress and overwork. Then, dealing with both mental illness from the stress and the economic downturn due to a certain infectious disease, made my job search tough. The damage and pressure from not finding another job quickly took a toll on my mental health. I never wanted to see my former co-workers, especially Jennifer. But Jennifer, remembering me, approached. As if to twist the knife, she said something unbelievable. "Hey Shannon, I'm getting his inheritance, right?" What? I couldn't hide my shock at her abrupt remark. Why would you, Jennifer? You're the CEO's daughter, and you have no right to Ethan's inheritance. My mind was racing. Jennifer then said something even more shocking. I'm pregnant, 4 months along. It's Ethan's baby. She rubbed her belly for everyone to see. Obviously, this child is Ethan's. You don't have kids, so it makes sense for his child to inherit. I'll be taking Ethan's inheritance. I was dumbfounded. How could Ethan, who was always kind and sportive, have a child with Jennifer? I couldn't and didn't want to believe it. I just wanted to escape this awful reality. How does it feel, Shannon, to have your loving husband stolen? Tell me, how does it feel? Jennifer laughed triumphantly. Behind her, my former co-workers who used to harass me were pointing and laughing as if to say, "You had it coming." I stood there in disbelief. Suddenly, Grace appeared from behind me, pushing me aside to confront Jennifer. "Were you the one blackmailing my son with embezzlement charges?" What? What the? I was baffled by Grace's words. "I know everything. That you're embezzling from the company, framing my own son for it, and threatening him with fake evidence. You are also sabotaging Shannon's job prospects, all of it." Hold on, Mama. What are you talking about? Slander without evidence could get you sued. Jennifer was desperately playing dumb. I've got the evidence right here. With that, Grace pulled an envelope from her coat pocket and scattered its contents across the funeral hall. It was incriminating evidence of Jennifer's embezzlement and her threats against Ethan. The room erupted in whispers as Jennifer's dark truth came to light. What's going on here? Jennifer, you're the worst! Embezzlement and threats? Those are crimes! Well, wait, this is... that... Jennifer was clearly panicked, but soon regained her composure and turned to me. But the fact remains, I'm carrying Ethan's child. Hand over the inheritance now. No need to worry about that. That child isn't Ethan's. What? Do you know about perinatal DNA tests? My son discreetly had one. Grace then thrust the DNA test results at Jennifer, proving the child wasn't Ethan's. This is fake! No, these are certified DNA results. Unlike what you've done, this isn't fake. The hospital will vouch for it. What? You've done plenty of other messed up stuff too, you know. We've got all the evidence to prove it. Upon saying this, Grace presented a plethora of irrefutable evidence. Multiple proofs surfaced, detailing harassment, embezzlement, blackmail, and even deeds too shocking to mention. Jennifer, unable to make excuses anymore, broke down in tears, scrunching her face and pulling her hair, emitting bizarre sounds. Her makeup started to run because of the tears, making the onlookers around her gasp. Her disheveled face looked like a disaster, to say the least. Yes, Jennifer's beauty was all makeup. Her real face was completely different. Former colleagues who used to be Jennifer's clique quickly flipped and began laughing at her while snapping pictures on their mobile phones. It was so like them to turn on her as soon as her position became precarious. I'm sorry for any pain I've caused you, Shannon, but my son didn't betray you, okay? Please believe that. Here is the proof. I was stunned upon seeing it and knowing the truth. Ethan had been forced into infidelity, not out of his will, but due to Jennifer's threats. The numerous entries also described how Ethan was drugged with high-proof alcohol by Jennifer, forced to drink it, and then blackmailed even further. "If you don't want this secret out, divorce Shannon and marry me instead." Turns out, she even had my co-workers wrapped around her finger. Jennifer seemed to be after Ethan just to mess with me. But Ethan wouldn't give Jennifer the time of day, so she resorted to desperate measures. Jennifer was embezzling company money and had even fabricated evidence to frame Ethan. She was threatening Ethan to get him to do what she wanted. A fake pregnancy was just one of those threats. At that time, I was mentally unstable and couldn't even job hunt, so Ethan couldn't afford to lose his job. That's why Ethan had no choice but to follow Jennifer's orders. I later found out from Ethan's diary that Jennifer had sabotaged my job hunting too. She had spread damaging information about me to rival companies through various connections. Her reason for tormenting me was something as petty as, "I just don't like your face." The reason she messed with my job search and tried to steal Ethan was simply, she couldn't stand me being married to a high-value guy despite being beneath her, and she wanted to ruin my life. Jennifer couldn't bear the thought of someone she considered lesser being happier than her. She planned to leave me jobless and divorce Ethan. Even after quitting her job, she kept on hounding me. My anger towards Jennifer was just unstoppable. Ethan, although he acted strong, was troubled by the false charges Jennifer pinned on him. But Ethan couldn't just sit there and do nothing. He was gathering evidence of Jennifer's embezzlement and threats during his work hours, planning to take legal action against her. Then tragedy struck Ethan just when he was getting ready. He was overworked, sporting my job search while dealing with work and gathering evidence. I too am to blame for not noticing Ethan's struggles. But what Jennifer did was simply unforgivable. She harassed me for petty reasons, sabotaged my job hunting, and did terrible things to Ethan. There was no way I could forgive her. Later, it turned out the father of Jennifer's baby was a married man, and she was sued for a large sum. Jennifer went crying to her CEO father, but her embezzlement and terrible behavior got her fired. Her parents were so furious at her conduct that they disowned her. "Someone like you doesn't deserve to be a daughter." Jennifer was left penniless and kicked out. When the CEO and his wife learned about the situation, they came to apologize at Ethan's memorial, insisting on paying a large sum as compensation. Although I felt it wasn't their fault, they insisted. "I spoiled my daughter, and I'm responsible for not noticing the office drama." So, I ended up reluctantly accepting the money from the CEO. But as for the boss, I couldn't forgive Jennifer no matter what, so I decided to take legal action against her. The boss and his wife supported me, even introducing me to a top-notch lawyer. Perhaps Jennifer's former entourage had something to do with it, but information about the harassment against me and various acts Jennifer had committed started spreading on message boards and social media. Naturally, Jennifer ended up behind bars, facing charges of embezzlement, threats, and more. She had been so focused on harassing co-workers she didn't like and company-sponsored dating events that she hardly did her actual job. Basically, she was kept on out of pity and had little to no skills. With her criminal record now public, getting a job after her release will be a challenge. I also filed charges against former co-workers who had helped Jennifer in her harassment. They too faced demotions and disciplinary actions, even having to pay me damages. Those who had participated in Jennifer's embezzlement and threats apparently ended up behind bars along with her. Sometime after my husband's funeral, I was recognized for my hard work at my part-time job and happily received a full-time position. Furthermore, I found out that I was carrying Ethan's child. I'm about 4 months along now. Although I felt a bit guilty for having to go on maternity leave so soon after my promotion, everyone at work told me, "You're welcome back anytime after your leave." Raising a child right after losing my husband will be tough, but I vowed to raise Ethan's child well, surrounded by my loving parents and in-laws.